Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Sky Fantasy Football Podcast by Fantasy Football Hub, the final reaction to the 1920 Premier League and Sky Fantasy season. What an exhausting and exciting day. My name is Andrew and I'm joined as usual by two of the most successful managers in the game. Firstly, Paul McAnulty. Paul, you've been on the beers today. Did you have a good final day?
Yeah, I did, yeah. The tenants served me well.
Excellent.
I'm pretty sure I won the one league that I was saying that I've. My league position.
It's just updated.
I finished top 1,000, so I'm quite happy.
Hang on now, it's just updated.
Yeah, I finished top 1,000, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay, we'll touch on that now. So while we're here, we'll just introduce the chap in the centre of our screen. As our YouTube live watchers can see, we have a special guest with us. This is Liam Dorian, a fantasy football member of 3 seasons, who was sat 1 point and second place behind podcast watcher Aaron Alton going into today's games and only 15 points ahead of third. The leaderboard hasn't updated as yet, but it looks like it is updating as we speak. So we don't actually know who has won the £50,000 grand prize as yet. We will carry on with the podcast, but we may interrupt at any time when the final results come in. Liam, live, you have some news?
Yeah, I won. It looks like I won.
You've won. You've won the 50 grand.
I won.
Oh my god, that's unbelievable!
I just found out there now, so thank you.
Oh mate, that is
Well done,
unbelievable!
well
Congratulations for anyone who's
Can relax now.
Oh, congratulations, Lee, and that is absolutely incredible. Just for everyone here, do you want to just introduce yourself, kind of where you're from, and what you do, and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So Liam Dorian, I'm from Ireland, the very, very top of Ireland. I'm 25. I'm a software developer, so I work for an American multinational company based here. I've been playing Sky past 7 years, so I'm probably a bit of a veteran. Our boys enjoyed Sky. I think it's more the passing bonus, the shots bonus, the tackle bonus.
Yeah.
It makes the game more interesting. So if you have like a 0-0 draw, you can still plenty of points.
Yeah, sure.
Really good. The man of matches, a bit of face. Sometimes they can go your way, or sometimes they can't. But I'm just happy to get over the line. It's first time I've ever won something like this, so it's crazy. So,
and I can see that Aaron's actually in the chat. Aaron, who has had an absolutely amazing season as well. So unlucky there. Did Aaron hold on to second, or have we got any idea? I can't get on the app. It's crashed for me. But if anyone could let us know.
It's not updating the leaderboard. It's only updating your own scores when you go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I go to my page, I can see number 1 beside my name. It was too.
Okay. That's not a bad thing to have there, mate.
It's always a good sign.
Yeah, but Aaron, hopefully you've held on to second place, and five grand still for second place, which is not to be sniffed at. So well done, everyone, guys. What an incredible race it's actually been. And literally, we were just talking to Liam off air and saying, "Oh, Liam, how thing would it be if we found out during the podcast? As soon as we say hello, we're on, it all updates. Absolutely unreal." So, Aaron just says he's fourth. He's fourth. Aaron's finished fourth. Not a great final day then, Aaron. That's really unlucky, buddy.
I've got my parents here now.
Liam's got his parents coming.
I've got my dad.
Come and say hello.
He's a Man City fan.
Hello, Mr. Dorian. How are you doing? He's a Man City fan, and the Man City player won you the cash.
I don't know.
Well done.
I've won. You can get champagne ready now.
Oh my goodness!
Sorry about that.
No, you're all right. Don't be silly. Really unlucky, Aaron. You've had an incredible season. Well done, Liam. So, what we're going to do in this podcast is give Liam a bit of a grilling. So we're going to ask him some questions about his season, about how he plays the game. Please feel free to ask any questions as well in the chat to Liam. We also want to hear from all our watchers and listeners how your seasons have gone. Is it your best ever season? Is it your worst ever season? and also then we will have a chat about what lessons are we going to take into next season. So my first lesson is to get Liam Dorian's phone number so we can have a chat. So Liam, first I suppose, what was your final team going into this afternoon then?
So my final team. So I ran out of transfers. It was last Thursday, I think. So my team at the minute, it's Pope. Then I had Van Dijk, Maguire, Baldock. Then midfield, I had De Bruyne, Richarlison, Foden, and Fernandes. And then my strikers were Danny Ings, Anthony Martial, and Marcus Rashford.
Oh, nice. So you had a bit of a mixture there, didn't you, of like, the really solid picks, but also you had a couple of differentials as well in there, which probably made
I went for Rashford, but he didn't really do the business. But I remember last transfer last week, I brought in Richarlison for Azpilicueta. So Dan kind of gave away Azpilicueta. I had him for the Chelsea game. He gave me 24 points. I had him captain. He gave me 12.
Wow.
He was owned by 0.8%. Yeah, he was owned by 0.8% team. So that allowed me to close the gap. That actually made me go to first last Tuesday. I closed the gap a good bit, so that's really good. Yeah, I took out him for Richarlison, but then I should have done it for Antonio. I was kicking myself all last week because I brought in Richarlison instead of Antonio, which would have given me that captain too. So, but it doesn't matter now.
Awesome, mate. We'll just run through it at least. So the leaderboard has just updated. Are you going for interview, Dan?
I'm in Norwich, mate, so I'll probably get things about 20 minutes after the rest of the country.
I'll just run through it then. So in 10th place overall was Jamie Bramley. In 9th place was Jack Wood. In 8th place, Derek Gillies, who was up there for most of the time at the end, wasn't he? In 7th place was Fantasy Football Hub's own Lee Giles. Well done there, Lee. We'll have a look at the cash leagues in a minute as well, because there's going to be a lot of cash in there as well to be shared out. 6th place was Gavin Shirley. Dane Dunn finished in 5th. Aaron Alton finished in 4th, so he finished on 3-3-1-9. Martin Hunt then finished in 3rd on 3-3-2-7. Neil Blackerby 3-3-3-2, and Liam, you won by 10 points in the end. So quite a fairly comfortable in the end. It's not like as if one thing might have. But I assume you captained Kevin De Bruyne this afternoon. Was that the difference then?
I did. Kevin De Bruyne was the difference. Yeah. I was actually weighing up if Fernandes, Martial, even Richarlison, but I think with De Bruyne against Norwich, it's going to be goals, and De Bruyne would be in the mix. I was worried about Sterling. I was very, very worried about him because he could get a hat-trick easily. So absolutely. I was very, very worried, but thankfully.
Okay, just a quick check in the chat. Everyone is giving you massive congratulations, Liam. Massive kudos off all the guys. And in terms of some of the ranks that some of the people got, so Joe Findlay Badder, 25th for me. I won my last knockout cup game. Very well done there, Joseph. Cian McKenna, Hub second half champion. We'll get onto that in a bit, Cian, but well done there. You've done that. And Cian finished 30th and 83rd with his two teams. That is seriously impressive there, Cian. Well done. Ian Parrin, Lockdown League winner. Get in. And John Lord, 1,441 on my first season. Wasted 2 or 3 chances early on, not understanding how it worked. And Phil Speck, 4th season for me, targeted top 1,000, finished 480. That's my best finish yet. Put it all down to joining Fantasy Football Hub this year. And of course, that planner. And Peter G finished 2nd in Fantasy Football Hub Lockdown League. Well done, Peter. Everyone seems to be having a really, really good season in the chat. So well done, everyone. Just back then to a couple of questions, Emily. And so, I don't know if you can, if you can remember back over the season, but what were the key transfer decisions that kind of went your way this season? Those real 50-50s where if you would have gone one way, you wouldn't have won. If you'd have gone the other, obviously, which you did, you won.
The one that sticks out in my mind was, remember Liverpool played Wolves before the overhaul?
Yeah.
So I transferred in Henderson. I think that game he got a goal and assist. I got Firmino. He got a goal and assist as well. And then the next game they played Southampton, and I had Salah captain, he got 2 goals. I think Henderson got a goal. Firmino got a goal and assist. And that's when I knew that I was up to 29th, and that's when I really knew I had a chance. Another big one was Aubameyang against Norwich. He got me 41 points that day.
That one, yeah.
I went to 19th. I went from 19th to 5th that day. So that's when I knew. I think that day I was in 5th. I had 7 transfers left. So I had pretty good transfer left. So I knew I was in my shout then because I was only 40 points off Derek and Aaron. So I knew I had a chance. But then it was just about making them transfers count. Not having De Bruyne, the time he played for West Ham when we got 2 goals, I didn't have in that game. To see him for that first game back against Arsenal, De Bruyne got a goal and assist, I think. I didn't have in that game. They were tough because I think everybody else had him. But the Henderson for me one sticks out most because they did nothing all season, and the 2 games I had him, they gave me a lot of points. So that was a really, really big one. Also, a key one was taking out Henderson before he played Man U and bringing in Pope. Was a really, really good transfer. Pope was brilliant, and then it worked out well when Burnley, they played Norwich last Saturday, so I had a player for that and was making no transfers, and I was 18 points. So that was a really, really big one.
Also, really, really good moves there. And how did you manage your transfers over the season? You say you had 7 left of that kind of when Aubameyang had. Then how many did you have down? Have left at Christmas and lockdown and things like that.
I think Christmas I had roughly 20 to 17. I know overhaul I had 9, so I had 9 after the overhaul, and I remember after the break I looked at my team and my team was good. I didn't have Pereira, so all my players were good. I didn't have to transfer anybody in, so I did one transfer the first day. I took out Fabinho and I brought in John McGinn. I brought in John McGinn to cover the Aston Villa games, and I literally didn't do nothing. So a bit of a waste, but
that just goes to prove as well, right? That you don't need to nail every single move to actually win it. You've probably made a few bad transfers, a few bad captaincy decisions.
True.
But that gives hope to everyone. I think that even if you do have not have a great start or not get that hat trick captain at the start, you can still go on and do really well if you play well. Who was your favourite player of the season? Who was the one player you had in who you think if you didn't have him, you just wouldn't have won?
I think I always go for Van Dijk. I think with Liverpool, he's pretty much guaranteed 5 points a game. Off the bat, it's 5 points, and you've got the clean sheet bonus. I know for the first 9 games, he kept no clean sheets, but he's still giving me 5 points every game, and also he's got the goals, stuff like that. So Van Dijk's a key player. Is probably my first person on team sheet for next season too.
Cool. And how long have you played Sky for, Liam?
I played Sky, I would say, chatting 6 years now. So I think the first year I joined was when they added the pass and tackle bonuses.
Yeah.
That's kind of got me interested because, people like Arteta, I remember that first season, Santi Cazorla, he was a beast because, he could get you goals, assists, but he also gave you the passing bonus. So that's an extra 2 points every game. And over a course of the season, they add up. So they're cheap that season too. So.
And do you tend to target, it sounds like from what you say with players like Van Dijk and Cazorla, you tend to target players who give you a continual, maybe small influx of points rather than chase the guys who get you the hat tricks. Is that the way you play?
True, that's the way I go. I can get someone like Zaha, if I get someone who I know is going to give me a passing bonus, tackle bonus, I would go for them. Like people this year, like Diego Jota, I don't go near him, and James Maddison, I will stay away from him now because they're very hot and cold, so you don't know. But at least you're somebody who's going to get you 4 points, then it's good. I think Diego Jota is the most hot and cold player ever. It's crazy. But yeah, I always, even for my defenders, when I pick my defenders, I always go for ones like criteria is kind of, will they give me passing bonus? If not, will they give me tackle bonus? And if they don't do either, then I don't really add them in. So I always have someone in my team who I know is going to do something like passing or bonuses or something like that.
Okay, and you've been a member now of Fantasy Football Hub for your 3rd season now, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, do you go? Sorry, you go.
As we cut you out, yeah. So I've been to that 3 years. I think it's good. I first remember started listening to Dan's. He does an article every Friday. I think they're good. Kind of give you tips on, like, Dan's a past winner, so he knows what he's talking about. Kind of, players he's eyeing up for this week, players he's looking at in the future, many transfer shoots you have left, and so on. And then Ian Parron's fixture planner. That's the main thing. I think for Sky, you have to plan. You can't take it week by week. I was kind of look 2-3 weeks in advance to see who I can get in, who can I take out, get a 2-for-1. I think they're important. So using that there is so important, because you have to be looking ahead 2 weeks at least for Sky.
Right. And what lessons have you learned? I was going to ask, and is this your highest ever finish? But obviously, it's your highest ever finish. What kind of lessons have you learned this year that you've applied that you maybe haven't done in previous years that you go into taking, into next season?
Yeah. A few things. Next year, I won't get James Madison. I think I had him. I think after the first overhaul, and he did well. He was getting me points when I got a goal against Arsenal, a few assists. But then after that, he went a good 10 games of doing nothing, and I kept him in the whole way. But like, if I had a transfer him out to somebody else, I would have got the extra 20, 30 points maybe, because he literally didn't do a thing. So I think if a player's not doing well, take him out and bring someone in. I also, in the overhaul team, I had Pepe, I think, and he literally didn't do a thing. Really, really useless. Yeah, he was so bad. But yeah, I think next year I'll just be more careful with picks. Some players I had John McGinn too. I think that was a bit of a stupid decision. I think I had him at the start and he did well for me, and I thought he would do the same.
McGinn was really good at the start when he was getting like tackle bonus and he was scoring, whether he was getting shot bonus or I don't think he got passing bonus, did he? But he was a good pick at the start, but then, well, he got injured, didn't he, I suppose? Did he? I don't know if the points dried up and then he got injured, but he was good at the start. So, yeah, he was all right.
He's a Hibs legend too.
Just a bit of catch up in the chat. Ewan Thomas, 43rd overall for me, and first in the Leeds United League. Won a little bit of dollar, finishing second in the Cash League too. Great stuff, Ewan. Well played. Mark Daniels won the only Cash League I entered. Not big money, but it will buy me a nice bottle of bourbon. Well done, Mark. Aaron said he had 12 transfers on restart. Bad choices, but you did brilliantly, Liam. So that's wow, that's incredible. John Lord, I won £130 on a Cash League. Not bad. Great stuff, John. Well done. Marius Ionita, 97th and 227th this season. Peter G, well done, Ian. Happy with second, as I've won 6 other restart leagues. Well done, Peter. And Glenn Murray, well done, Ian. 61st myself. Can't grumble. It seems like we've got like the top 100 and top 200 all in this chat. Really, really good. So if you have any questions for Liam, please put them in the chat. We're going to have a bit of a chat now with Paul and Dan just on how we feel our seasons have gone. We've, I think by our standards, obviously Dan's standards and Paul's standards are higher than mine, but by all our standards, we probably had a poorish season, guys. I think it's fair to say. Coming to you first, Paul, what are the things that you think you've done wrong this season, and where would you change for next?
Yeah, I've said this a couple of seasons before, but I definitely used my transfers far too early. So I was looking at the Man City stats, because I remember always feeling like when you see a Man City team sheet, you know that they've always got the potential to destroy a team in front of them and rack up the points. And obviously you can have any array of Man City players. And I remember a couple of times earlier on the season having Man City players that were benched and then making 1 or 2 transfers to get players in to play. But looking at even from the midfield perspective, looking at the top 10 midfielders, so this was before today's games came through, you've got De Bruyne in first for overall points in midfielders. You've got Mahrez in third. You've got David Silva in fifth. And you've got Rodri in ninth. So out of the 37 available games, De Bruyne had played 84% of them. Mahrez and David Silva had only played 57% of them. And then Rodri had played 76% of them. So for me, that's a lesson learned, is just to stick with the Man City players. that you've got. Yeah, they might not be playing in that game that you see the team sheet for, but you know that the next start's just around the corner and that the points are going to rack up again. Or even like a lot, like perhaps not Rodri, but certainly the other three are all capable from the bench as well of producing assists and goals as well. So it's definitely a lesson learned for me that not making the switches out for those days, particularly earlier on in the season. The second one is about making 2 moves for one player. I've been culpable of this a couple of times this season, particularly when Man City played Burnley at home after the overhaul to get Aguero in, and the 2 moves to the one player. Then he picks up the injury and then gets subbed, and I'm sitting with a second player that I didn't originally want, and I made a decision within the hour before kickoff to get in as well. Yeah, sometimes they do end up working out, particularly if you're picking up a player for a single game day in the future, but too often they don't for me. The next point is leaving the team flexible, and I think that kind of follows into that as well. If you leave your team flexible, that you can always, if you're always one move away from one player. It's all about structuring the team. We've talked before about in the pod about getting the enablers in, and that therefore allows that one move switch to get the player that you really want in. Again, not making those 2 moves that using up the precious transfers. And the last thing for me is don't follow pack mentality, and it's more. I really enjoy the WhatsApp groups I'm in and on Twitter and the follows and seeing the polls for decisions to be made and stuff. But particularly about the transfer around the captaincy, I've moved away from what my gut feeling was towards what the percentage of people are saying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't follow ownership stats. You should certainly follow ownership stats. I think if you're away from 8 out of 11 of your players not falling in high ownership, then you're going to be away from the mark. But and hitting those differentials is right. But it's a bit of fun as well as the stats based element. And I think I have been too guilty of seeing what's top of a poll and moving that, and it's cost me before. Back when I won, when I finished 4th and I won a lot of cash leagues, which granted was a few seasons ago, but I remember I did have a select few people that I spoke to and knocked ideas against, and that's what's really good about the WhatsApp groups. But there wasn't as many polls then, and it wasn't swaying my decisions for captaincies, and that's certainly something that that I'll definitely take on to next season.
Yeah, I think anyone's first season, especially when you move into content creation in terms of writing, podcasting, wherever else, you don't say what you think everyone wants to hear, but I do think then you are a bit more nervous to make kind of outlandish moves, but the moves which you think are right, or fear of getting things wrong. I definitely noticed in the last year or two that's affected my performance, across all formats, and that for me is my number one. Anyway, thanks for that, Paul. Really, really good stuff. Dan, we've been very quiet this evening. I don't think we've come to you yet, actually. Sorry. It's purely because obviously we found out that Liam had won at 9:01 after we went on live at 9 o'clock. But what are your learnings for this from this season, Dan?
Yeah, so before the lockdown, I was 299th with about 7 transfers left or something like that. So I think I probably would have been on for a top 100 there or thereabouts. So it wasn't too bad, but obviously that just was a nightmare because of this amount of games. I know people have done all right since it, but for me, only having 7 transfers left, and I had Pereira in my team, so he had to go. So I'd used too many transfers early on, so definitely going to try to keep some more transfers back for the latter stages. Like we spoke about last week, we've all run out of transfers, and we could all say, we'd have all been on Antonio for that Friday night game can't remember who they're playing now. He scored. Do you know what I mean? The first minute or so. Who did they play? Watford. But anyway, we'd have been on him, and we talked about Kane, Sterling, all these sort of. We couldn't do nothing about it. So I'm sort of pleased that that was in my thoughts, but I just couldn't act on it. So yeah, basically, don't use so many transfers early on. On more of the things, the more I've always just. I knew who I was going to captain and what my moves were going to be, but I've been a bit more swayed by seeing the captaincy polls and thinking, better go for Fernandes, better go for De Bruyne because they're so high owned, and do you know what I mean? Especially in the top thousands. Whereas I just don't know. I think I've been a bit more swayed by that. I think I've also, because there's been more people playing it, I've been a bit more concerned with other people's teams rather than focusing on my own. So you see someone else's team on Twitter and
that's right.
You think, God, they got them and them. And I remember early on seeing Heskebo had like Gaeta in goal, and you're like, why has he got him in goal for? He's shit. Do you know what I mean? But he was getting the clean sheets, and I was like, what are we doing? Like, and then you're sort of thinking, like, then Palace are keeping another clean sheet, and you're like, fucking hell, like, what? And then thinking, why am I thinking about his team for? Or so I'll get more like, I need to just focus back on my team this season. Because I changed my article to like a diary, and I used to do the bonus points. I've studied the Opta stats on Fantasy Hub less, which is great. If you haven't looked at them Opta stats, you really need to look at them. But I haven't looked at them as much, and I think it's shown because I'm like just top 500 now, so I need to put more time into the stats. And probably a bit complacent. Like I expected a top 100 finish, because I've done all right the last 3 years and so. So I think I was a bit, I need to go back to putting more work into it. Basically, I got a bit complacent. And yeah, just be lucky really with captains. Like you can't, some of the ones where you just can't, it's just not your time, is it? Do you know what I mean? When you just keep picking the wrong captain each day and someone else in your team scores a brace and man of the match and your captain's a 2-pointer and what can you do? But yeah, that was my ones really.
I think as well, Dan, with yours as well, is when you won and kind of since your articles and your thoughts have been going out to quite a small audience. The hub kind of grew in 2018, and it's growing and growing now, but now it's growing at a massive rate. We got a lot of members, so everyone is getting into your mind as well. Just look at this podcast, right? So all three of us spill our guts every week. We've all played Sky a long time. We know the game. Okay, we haven't had really good seasons, but we all have before. We know how to play the game, and it's helping other people. And I think that everyone benefits from getting into your mind as well, Dan. But that's to your disadvantage a little bit because now you're competing against everyone who was got into your mind. So you can somehow take it as some kind of weird backhanded compliment, but I think that definitely is true. Like where your articles would have been read by 50 people a couple of years ago, they're read by thousands of people now, and that makes a big difference. So but yeah, just a bit of a catch up in the chat. It seems everyone in the chat has had an incredible season. Ian Parrin, cheers at PTG. It's been a tight competition all 9 weeks. Marius asks, congrats Liam, what essential players will you choose next season? So we've done this a couple of times with us three, but for your top 3 picks for next year, game week 1, who are they going to be?
I would say Van Dijk, he's number 1. Bruno Fernandes and KDB, depending on the price. I might have to go for 1, I might have to go for 2. I will see.
Liam, at what price would you not select Fernandes and KDB?
KDB, what's he now? He's 11.2, isn't he?
Yeah.
I can see KDB staying 11.2 because he did the same last year, so I can't see him going up anymore. It's a bit of Chico Fernandes. He's 10.1. I reckon he'd be more. I reckon he'd be 10.3, 10.2. To fit in 2 of them, that's almost half your budget gone 2 players. Yeah, I'll have to wait till next year, but I don't think I would go with 2 of them. I think I would probably have to go with 1.
That's really interesting. I suppose if you think De Bruyne, Bruno and Van Dijk could easily be 34, 35, or have you had, you only picked a striker yet, right? You can have a premium striker. So.
The other player I will probably get is Laporte. I think last season he had nearly the same points as KDB. If you think he's 5 points a game easily, Man City too. Defensively, since overhaul, they were very, very good. So I think Laporte is another one to watch too. He must have a season. I think people kind of, he's definitely one. Also, I have to shout out to my friend Eugene Robb too. He's chipping in. So hey, Eugene.
Awesome. Hello there, Eugene. Boris the Blade says, "Well done, Dynamo." Simon Ward. I recognise that name. Great fan player. He won it last season.
Yeah.
He's now he's finished 15th overall this year, and he's won thousands of pounds again with a second, fourth, and 2/3 in the SSF full money leagues. Unbelievable. First and 15. That is really, really impressive. Well done, Simon Ward. Bob Tomlinson finished second in my mini league by 3 points. Villa staying up more than makes up for that. Absolutely. What an afternoon for Aston Villa. Paul Evans says, "Congrats, Liam. Brilliant stuff. I finished 3,693rd, but won a £400 mini league somehow. Buzzing. Defo watching more of you lads next year. Great advice throughout. Thank you, Paul." Bob Tomlinson should have captained De Bruyne instead of Sterling. Liam said, he was really, really scared of Sterling, weren't you, at the start of the day? I think everyone was, but De Bruyne turned out to be the man. Aaron Holton. "Anyone fancy a game console? I've got two." Good that you're taking it. Good spirits there, Aaron. John Law, "This season was completely unique. Hard to learn from this one." Nigel Bennett, 18th overall and 3rd and 4th in Sky Cash Leagues. So think I've won 2,200. Big thanks to you guys for words of wisdom. Well done, Nigel. Saw your name up there all season. Really, really good season for you. Dan Wright, 2,481st, 1st and 3rd in mini leagues. Happy with that as my first season. Looking forward to pushing on, hopefully. And Dan Wright, some amazing managers in this chat. Well done, everyone. Absolutely. Like I say, it seems like we've got the top 100 all in this chat. Bear, congratulations, Liam, winning 50k, and Kian on winning the second half Hub League against the odds. Amazing achievements. You boys are geniuses. Mark Daniel says he fancies Greenwood next year, and Boris the Blade, Fernandes to be at least 10.8. I wouldn't be surprised if he's more than that, to be honest. I think he's built for the Sky game, right? He's got everything. He's got all the assists, goals, passing, tackles, whatever else. So,
Fergie, I mentioned Niall Murphy. It was a Scotsman from Perth that I met when I was in Peru before.
Yeah.
But he's written an article for Fantasy Football Hub before as well.
I saw that.
He finished 16th overall as well.
Wow, that's incredible.
And he's finished 3rd before. Dan, you know him as well, right?
He's our mate, and he's had about 4 top 30 finishes or something. He's unreal. And we speak to him like, I don't know what February time. How many transfers you got left, or 20 or something? He's like, what? He been in prison or in a coma? Mad.
He's a top player.
Yeah, he's really good.
Awesome stuff. Anything else from you, Dan, or is that your?
I hear everyone here's won a load of money and stuff. Well, I haven't won any money. But if you want to send us some beers or something,
Definitely.
Dan, Jonathan Bancroft that finished 20th. He's finished high before as well.
Has
he won it, or he's finished top 3, hasn't he?
Yeah, rings a bell.
I think he did well last season. I remember his name up there last season.
He finished 20th as well. So
awesome! Wow. In terms of some lessons learned on my side, I suppose going on what Liam has said, I think this year I had a really good year last year, and I think I went into this year thinking, I can just go and try and chase for the win, if you know what I mean, rather than playing my normal kind of game, which is usually very steady, having the Van Dijk, and having the Laportes and all this kind of thing, using my transfers a bit more wide. So having that core of base players that you generally probably not going to touch most of the season, so your DVDs, Laportes, KDBs, and if you find a person, like a Soyuncu this year, for example, or last year was like the Wolves defenders, wasn't it? All these, they're just so cheap and they score so well for their price. You just kind of leave them in and then you use your transfers around them. And I think as well, I've always got an eye on overall rank. Even at the start of the season, I always try and want to improve my overall rank all the time, whereby for the first half of the season, probably not that it doesn't matter, because if you're outside the top 100k at Christmas, you're not going to win it, right? But as long as you're ticking along nicely, and keep an eye on people around you, keep an eye on ownership and all this stuff. I think that is something I'll be taking into next year. And I think as well, a bit more boring captains, and by boring captains I mean BVDs, De Bruyne's, players like that, rather than going for the hat-trick men all the time, because I'm not sure how many hat-tricks there's been this season, but when you think of hat-trick men, your Salahs, maybe Aguero's, maybe Kane's, I'm not sure how many hats been this season, but I'm not sure any of them scored a hat-trick this year. So if you're constantly chasing those, if there's 38 lots of game weeks with an average of maybe three game days per weekend, that's like about 120 opportunities at picking a captain. If you pick your Van Dijk's, Laporte, or wherever else, for your 5 points, 10 points, 8 points, 6 points, rather than your Salahs who will get 2 points, 12 points, 2 points, 16 points. And, I think we mentioned this about a month ago, didn't we? So I think can be doing a lot more of that, unless you get the really obvious one, right? So Aguero home to Norwich, for example. So I think they're the lessons I'll be taking as.
I'd still argue though, like Laporte at home to Norwich. Well, we won't be playing Norwich, but at home to someone like that, Villa, with the clean sheet and passing bonus, Aguero would have to get a couple anyway, wouldn't he? So
well, this is it. So I'm excited actually, because we're going to do our experiment.
We'll do that, won't we?
We'll do
an
experiment next year. Yeah, we'll do a heavily defensive team against a heavily attacking team, and we'll see how that goes. John Lord asks, any of you boys got eyes on the new boys, Werner, Ziyech, or anyone else that's already joined? Any thoughts, Paul, on?
So as Dan names them, we've talked about him before, but Luke Williams is the kind of guy that got certainly got me or one of the people that got me into Sky. But he always maintains that any new boys to the league always picks up man of the match in the first couple of games.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it happened to Salah, Lacazette. I remember Lacazette played. Arsenal played Leicester on the Friday night.
I remember that. It was like a 1-0 or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
It was 4-3.
Like 1-1 or 2-1 or something like that.
Was it?
4-3. Something like that?
Lacazette got the first goal in the 3rd minute, and he didn't score then.
But then they end up picking man of the match and had hardly anything, right? And he got man of the match. But Luke Williams got a theory about it. It pertains that anybody new to the league always picks up these man of the match bonuses. I think Chelsea's got so many of those players already with Pulisic. We've talked about Pulisic many times on this pod, and Werner. I think Chelsea do great going forward. So yeah.
Dan, is there anyone else, like, any of the new boys potentially that you've got your eye on? I hear that Ziyech is a bit of a beast. I think he's been training with some of the Chelsea boys already, and he's been really impressed them apparently. What are your thoughts, Dan, on any of the new players?
All depend how much they are. If it's someone there's a bargain, I feel that's what I'll be waiting for, really, the price list. Until I see that, I don't really know, and still need to wait to see who else comes up from the Championship, because started having a look at like West Brom and Leeds players, and be interested in this. What was the score of that game tonight? Did Swansea win?
2-0.
2-0.
It was 1-0, and there was a sending off. I can't remember.
But yeah, well then whoever else comes up, then scout them and see if there's anyone cheap in their ranks who makes passing or tackles or anything like that. So yeah, it all depends on the price.
Sorry, it was 1-0, Dan.
1-0.
And Liam, are there any ones, any of the new players at all, or you got your eyes on for next year?
I haven't. No one really. But I do too with new players. I use a site called whoscored.com. That's where I do my research. So I'm looking at Ziyech now. So 21 games last year, 6 goals, 12 assists. I don't know. You think he's playing for Ajax, best team, Dutch league? It doesn't seem too appealing, but I think his price to be almost 10 million. So I think I'll stay away from him. So a lot of my stats, I use whoscored.com. It's got stats. So I would it's got stats for championship. So I would look at players from Leeds and West Brom, see the tackles. You can filter the passes, see how many passes to get. So we can eye up the players who are good at tackling and good at passing. That's one I always use. And they've got ones for the Dutch League, German. So any player that comes, I go on who scored, see their stats, see their passing, their shots on target, the tackles. And that's how I make my decisions. And then the price too will come into it as well. I remember who was it? Guyana Gay played for Everton.
Yep.
They found him a couple of years ago, and I seen on who scored the team from France. He got like 4 or 5 tackles a game, so that's why I brought him in. And for that first couple of games for Everton, he was really, really good between tackles and passing bonus. And I got man of the match too, so he was a good find for me.
Great stuff. We'll just update everyone on the Hub second half league. So the top of this league got £250. In 10th place was Nigel Bennett. Well done again, Nigel. Unlucky on not getting the prize, but another really good season for you. In 9th was Sean Tobin. So anyone who doesn't know Sean is one of the best fantasy football managers you will ever meet, predominantly in FPL, but he's also fantastic at Sky and everything else. Samuel Warren 8th, Edwin Robertson in 7th, Elsie Bishop in 6th, Adam Robinson 5th, Pete Kemp 4th, Ollie Bro 3rd, Roger Morgan, who was top last week, whose team is still open, in 2nd. But well done to Cian McKenna, who grabs the top prize. Well done, Cian. Fantasy Football Hub member, £250 on its way to you, buddy. Well done. Give me a message after this and we will sort it out with Will. But fantastic stuff. Well done. Last couple of questions in the chat. Phil Speck, what was your best formation, Liam, and what do you reckon on formation for next year? So you typically a 4-4-2 guy or something?
Formation. It changes every year. I remember last year, I think I was 5-3-2 last year. This year, or since the overhaul, I've been 3-4-3. That's usually something I wouldn't do. But this year worked. But I think it depends on the prices of the players. That's the main thing. And I think the positions too. I think because this year the positions changed a lot. So last year we had Sterling, who was a midfielder. I think Mane or Salah, they were midfielders. So I think this year it's changed a lot because they've changed the players to different. I can see like Richarlison, him going to striker this year. So I'll have to wait till the game comes out. But I think every year changes depending on the Sky, who they have, the prices, which players get changed and which don't. So, but I reckon now it could be 3-4-3 again. I think I might go 3-4-3 again, but I'll wait until it comes out.
Perfect for that. Mike Byram says, congrats Liam, unlucky Aaron. AJ Bruce, looks like I've won the Knockout Cup along with 3 others, 4 people to split the prize fund. Well done, AJ Bruce. I think that's £1,000. So if it's split, that might be a couple of £100. Great stuff. Ian Parrin says, lessons to take forward. 1, captain the bonus magnet, expensive defenders, and 2, use your transfers to swap big hitting strikers depending on fixtures. So they're Ian's lessons. Paul Evans, how good you got to be and where you got to finish to change your Twitter to a Sky Fantasy animal, asking for a friend. You can pick any woodland animal whenever you like, Paul. Just carry on. There's some crazy names out there. Cian McKenna, what are you going to buy with the 50k, Liam? That's a good question.
I haven't thought about that until a bit an hour ago.
If I was 25, I know what I'd be buying.
I'm trying to keep PG. I might buy a new car and I'll see what else happens then. I'll probably go on a mad session then. Probably a holiday, probably not this year, maybe next year. I'll probably have to treat the girlfriend. I think she's helping me the past month. I don't know how she has, but I've been a nervous wreck. I think what's strange with this is kind of, for the past month, there's been a game almost every day. Yeah, whereas the past, you had like 5 days off, you could relax. But I think like there was 12 days of a game every day. And, I'm kind of worrying every night to midnight, the table, take us home to load. And so, yeah, probably have to buy her something too, buy her handbag or something now. Keep her happy.
The handbag or 50 grand, she's going to be fuming.
That's been full on, mate, though, isn't it? Every football every day. Do you know what I would say? I don't know if people I worked with at the time, I'd just say to people that you're like either just say, oh, I'm going to pay off some debts, or I'm going to put a deposit down my house, or just basically tell them you're spending the bulk of the money, because if not, they'll be bothering you. Like, oh, let's go on a sesh, or do you know what I mean? When I came third in the Sun 2012, got 20k. A guy I worked with the same day asked me if he could borrow 5k. You're like, are you joking? Like, they even got it. And someone like, so that's what I'd do, mate. That would be my advice. Just tell somebody you're spending it, or invest in it in something, because
that's someone that's someone that listens to the pod as well, Dan, is it not?
No, God, no. He's probably in prison by now.
Mike Byram finished 86th overall to go with my 4th last year. So really happy with that. Well done, Mike Byram. Great stuff as usual with you with the Byrams. John Lord, is there a general idea when the game drops? Is it like 2 weeks before the season starts? We don't know, but I would say the season, it looks like it's going to start on Saturday the 12th. It may start on Friday the 11th of September. But Dan has already exclusively revealed that they're not going to make any changes to the game. So hopefully there's not much work to actually do. So I wouldn't be surprised, actually. Where are we now? End of July. Hopefully, if we can get it in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I reckon. Dan, what are your thoughts based on previous?
Yeah, I think so. They're going to want to. Because it's all about how many people are playing it, aren't it? So they're not going to release it a week or two before. They want to get it out, mate. It's normally, I forget when it normally comes out, but if they could give you 3 or 4 weeks to sign up and make the team, because they don't want to look at it and be like, oh, there's only 400,000 people playing this year. There was 500,000 last year. They want it to be more. So I think they try to get it out before FPL as well. Do you know what I mean? So people will do that. So I'm hopeful that sort of 3rd week in July, 2nd, might not be long, might only be 2 or 3 weeks, and it'll be out and going again. But I think the good thing is going to be, because there's a couple of players moved or whatever, there hasn't been much. I think that's going to be a rush for them doing the pricing. So I think there might be some bargains and deals to be had, because they've had to sort of be a bit rushed with it. And it could be good for us.
Okay, Mark Daniels said that he went 3-4-3 since the restart, and that is where he gained his points. And Aaron says he needs a couple of weeks rest now. I bet you all you guys at the top, I bet you're absolutely shattered. So good stuff. John Maloney, quick question, John. I can't remember. You can make unlimited transfers to your team before the start of the first game week. Yes, you can. Yeah, you can make unlimited transfers for that. Okay, we finally come to Dan's rant. Dan, after this crazy period we've had over the last few weeks, we've finally reached the end. But what are you angry about?
I watched the Liverpool £1 million celebrations the other night. I couldn't believe when Alden comes up, he's got his phone out the whole time, and he's filming it on Instagram. What? I never played professional football, but I know them shorts ain't got no pockets. So if you've got your phone out, you're committed to having your phone in your hand, didn't you? And Mane was just scrolling through his phone the whole time. I know there's no fans there, but still, it's on telly. Everyone's got Sky. Do you know what I mean? We can all see that. It's not like you got to record it because no one's going to see it.
He's absolutely there in a bit of he's in a bit of history, right? It's
the
first ever
they won it for 30 years,
title, and he's just on his phone.
Enjoy it, take it all in. Remember every second.
Absolutely.
You are there as part of it, and that takes me. I was at I love Oasis and all that. So Noel Gallagher was in Norwich there last year, so I went to go see him when he's singing out the old "Don't Look Back in Anger." Everyone, it's not just millennials, even people my age, they've all got the phones up. It was a sea of phones. Everyone's recording it, the whole song. And you're like, can you imagine seeing someone else? I saw no guy like Gallagher last week. Yeah, well, have a look at this, and someone's playing it. The footage is going to be shit. It's going to sound shit, and you haven't remembered any of it because that just annoys me. I know it was a different time, but I went to Glastonbury in 2000, and some of the people there like Bowie on the Sunday night, and I know phones only you could call, text, or play Snake back then, so it weren't. But everyone's just there in the moment, enjoying it. What a time to be alive. So just put your phones away. It's just does your head in, doesn't it?
Dan, we're definitely of a certain age. Every rant you give, I am with you the whole way. It's one of my pet hates. I hate it when someone gets their phone and say, "Oh, look, I went to this concert," and as you say, it looks shit, and it sounds it's just noise, isn't it? It's just you can't make out what's going on.
It's just a sea of arms with phones. You're just like, what are you doing? Like, I took a couple of pictures just to prove I was there. So when you go back through scroll back through your things, like, oh yeah, that was this time last year I was there. But imagine that's like, oh, did you watch Barry Allen? No, I filmed it. Like, do you want to see it?
It was back when you could only hold 10 messages on your phone as well, right? You had to delete the bottom ones.
Yeah, probably. But you don't want to miss things like that, do you?
Playing Snake means something very different nowadays, don't it, as well? Okay, thanks for that, Dan. Thank you so much, Liam, for joining us. I can't believe we found out. We were like chatting before around when we're going to find out. I was very, very stressed, and as you can imagine, to go live at 9 o'clock and find out at 9:01 in our presence, for us is a real thrill. All our watches as well, and many congratulations. Liam has been a fantasy football member for 3 years. He'll hopefully do a bit of work with us now in the future as well. He's
contractually obliged, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is contractually obliged now. This is part of
another thing, actually, Liam. You'll get loads of people on Twitter now messaging you.
Yeah,
they can interview you and stuff like that. I had someone like with about 3 followers when I won. Like, I want to interview you for, and it's like, no, you're okay. I'll tell you, you've got to watch Joe from Fantasy Football Scout. He'll be on your case. Tell him, no thanks, mate. I'm with the hub. Leave me be. Hub
life. Thank you to Paul and Dan as well. We started this stream in January. We didn't even know, we didn't really know what we were going to do, how it was going to work, or how it was going to, kind of
we're going to call it a Welshman, a Scotsman, and an Englishman, no?
We were, yeah, and now it's an Irishman as well. We've got all 4 on, but we gave it a go, and thanks to everyone for all your support. Watching us every week, listening every week as well. We all really, really enjoy it, and all your support and interaction has really, really made us come back every week. We really enjoy it, so thank you so much. We'll be back in pre-season, so as soon as the game launches, as long as none of us are on holiday or whatever else, as soon as the game launches, we will be back to look at fixtures. We will be back to look at player prices. We'll be back giving a lot of pre-season advice and begin analysing players and preparing for the new season. We do have one request. So for everyone who's enjoyed our content, and if this maybe even helped you in some way, if you could retweet this podcast out or leave some kind of small testimonial on Twitter, it would really, really help our reach, help us gain some, more followers, more listeners, which can only help the podcast to grow and improve. It would be very much appreciated indeed. So for the final time this season, Dan, where can we find you?
Twitter, Dan Cox 82, and on the hub, my article on every Friday. I just want to actually add, we're doing a bet whether Liam wants to be in this, but whoever finishes the bottom out of us 3 is coming on the podcast in drag. Aren't they? Is that right at the end of next season?
It is. It is.
That's right. Yeah.
Whether Liam want to be part of that, but we're doing that, aren't we? And also, what say if you follow me on Twitter and I don't follow you, just let me know and I'll follow you, because when people like FPL Hardback follow me, I don't know who that is if they don't interact with me. So if you listen to this, just let me know and I'll give you a follow back.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. And Paul, where can we find you?
Yeah, I'd echo Dan's comments there. I'm at Paul McAnulty 1, so MCANULTY for McAnulty.
Okay, cool. And my Twitter handle is at Fergie222. So this podcast and video will be on the Fantasy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel, and also available in all major podcast libraries. This will likely be out tomorrow now, so it'll be Monday afternoon. If you liked what you watched, please click the like button, and remember to subscribe in the bottom right hand corner of the screen if you don't already. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast version, leave some comments. It really does help us increase our rankings. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok are at FFH_HQ. Our podcast Twitter handle is at FFH_Sky. Please feel free to follow and ask us any questions at any time. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, and much, much more, which can be used for both Sky and FPL. Also on the website, specifically for Sky, Dan reveals his transfers, captains, and general thoughts at 1 p.m. every Friday, obviously during pre-season and during the season. He's having a break now for a few weeks, exclusively to Fantasy Football Hub members. An essential read if you're a serious Sky player. Ian Parrin's Sky Planner is every manager's every Sky Managers, including Liam's best friend. And I also write my weekly multi-format diary article, which includes my Sky team's transfers, captains, and progress, which Liam didn't confess to read in the Swine. If you are not in our Sky WhatsApp chat groups, you really need to think about it for next season. It is growing rapidly. It includes top Sky players, including Paul and Dan, also Mark Edworthy, Paul Jones, Luke Wilson, Ian Parrin. I'm sure Liam will join us as well, and many, many others. And this is available to Premium Hub members. If you really want a challenge for your mini leagues and and spots next season, be part of a great community of Sky players and get first-hand advice from the best in the business, you really want to think about signing up. It is a great investment. If you fancy joining Fantasy Football Hub, like everyone here, including Liam, go get a 7-day free Hub membership trial at fantasyfootballhub.co.uk/free trial. And for our YouTube viewers, the link is below in the description. Sure, everyone knows, but the Planet FPL guys do their Sky podcast every Wednesday, so make sure you tune into them. And we will be back next season, pre-season, bigger and better than ever, with new features, including building and managing our very own podcast team with you guys, big cash mini leagues, and most importantly, disgruntled Dan, here to share his continual life tales of woe. We cannot wait. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting and interacting with everyone. See you in a few weeks. Goodbye for now all.